So, hi everyone. My name is Adeze, and I'm the Logistics Operations Manager here at Terminal Africa. Today, we're going to be discussing about packaging. We're going to be discussing everything about packaging, right? So, some of the things we'll be covering will be types of packaging materials, packaging your fragile items and your food items, scale weights versus volumetric weights, weight discrepancies and additional charges, and how to avoid them, documentations, and then of course, if you have any questions, just keep them till the end of the call, and we will address everything, right? So packaging can be classified as external packaging and internal packaging, right? External packagings include poly mailers and flyers. So like your DHL flyer, your plain flyers, as you can see here. And then we have bubble mailers, which is also a type of poly mailer, except it has like a layer of bubble wrap inside, which gives that additional cushion to protect your package. And of course, we have boxes, which we are very much familiar with. Another sort of packaging that's not listed here, another sort of external packaging not listed here is what we call envelopes. So they are a bit thicker than our poly mailers, like cardboards, but not as thick as boxes. And they are usually used to ship documents. They are flat, but we don't use them as much. So these are like the main external packagings that we have right now. Um, Onto internal packaging, we have packing peanuts, bubble wrap, shredded paper, and vacuum seal. So during the course of this training, I'll touch on some of these more, right? So packaging of fragile items, we have fragile items such as your cosmetics, your gadgets, and the likes. These should be packed in boxes, right? Such items should first be bubble wrapped. So you should first wrap them with the bubble wrap and then put it in your box. And the empty spaces that are there should be filled with your shredded paper or your packaging peanuts. So this ensures that in transit, it doesn't move around. Everything just stays in one place, right? And when you're done, of course, it's very important to put your fragile sticker on the box because this would let whoever that is handling the package know that this is a fragile item and it should be handled with care, right? So moving on to packaging of food items, food is one of the major exports in our country. We have Nigerians all over the world and they always want their food items. So we have to be very careful with how we package our food items so that they can ride, so that it won't encounter any issues in transit. So first of all, your food items have to be well dried and they have to be vacuum sealed. So what's vacuum sealing? Previously, I showed a picture of the vacuum seal over here. So basically, it's like a nylon and you attach it to a machine. And what it does is it sucks out all the air in that package, in that nylon, making it airtight and then it seals it, right? So your food item has to be vacuum sealed and then labeled correctly with the English name of that food item, right? The English name, you can put the English name and then the native name on the side so that because it's being shipped internationally and customs in that country may not know the traditional name. So that's why we also advise that you put the English name as well. Another thing about packaging food item is it can't be packed with other items. So if you're shipping clothes and food, you can't put it together. You have to package them separately. And when you're shipping snails with DHL or Ship to Niger, they also advise that you package your snails separate from the other food items. And you can't ship more than 2 kg of snails at a time, right? Food items also have to be packed in boxes. This is because they are also considered fragile as fragile items and they can be crushed in transit. So we also advise that you put them in boxes to avoid damages in transit or minimize damage in transit, right? Um, so moving on to scale weight and volumetric weight. So I think we're all very familiar with scale weight. This is when you just carry your package and put it on the scale, the weight you see at the time, that is your scale weight, right? Then we then have our volumetric weight. So volumetric weight is usually measured for packages with dimensions and it is calculated by measuring your length. So you multiply your length, your breadth, and your height together, right? If you're measuring it in centimeters, you divide it by 5,000 to get your weight in kg. If you're measuring it in inches, you divide it by 139 to get your volumetric weight in pounds. So what you do is you compare your volumetric weight and your scale weight. Whichever one is higher is what you should impute while using while booking your shipments. Alternatively, we also have a packaging feature on terminal which allows you to put in the dimensions of your package. So you can pick that package and still put your normal scale weight. We will do that for you. So we will then pick the higher one for you and bill you for it so that you don't encounter any issues in transit, right? So I was specific when I spoke about the packages with dimensions. I didn't say boxes. This is because volumetric weight is actually not limited to boxes alone. So if you're shipping a package in a flyer and it is bulky, it is bulging, they would measure the dimensions of it. And if the volumetric weight is higher than that scale weight, then it is that volumetric weight they would use. So if you're shipping like a poofy dress, we have a lot of dresses these days with a lot of like chiffon and the likes. They are not heavy per se, but by the time you fold it and you put it inside the flyer, it will be bulky, and they will check for volumetric weight of that as well, right? So going on to weight discrepancies, right? So this is when the carrier relays the package and it is higher than what was declared on the way bill. And you can avoid this by putting the accurate weight of your package. And like I said, you also need to take volumetric weight into consideration. Now, irregularly shaped boxes, that is like when you have a box that is bulging, that is it's overstuffed, or when you form a carton. So maybe you're trying to cut the carton to cover it, to put it this way, maybe to try and reduce the dimensions. What happens is that it's uneven, it's the dimensions are not uniform, right? And what happens there is while the carrier is checking the weight again, the dimensions may change because it is not regular. It is not regular, and this can then increase the weight that they are going to bill you for instead, right? So we always advise not to overstuff your boxes. Neither should you like bend it or try to construct it. Always try to use a box that has flat sides so that you don't encounter this problem. And like I said earlier, when you overstuff your flyers, it can give you dimensions which can be billed for volumetric weight when being checked by the carriers. And I think another thing to mention here is that when you don't package your items properly, when you use maybe a weak box or something, the carrier may have to repackage your shipment before it will move. And this can also affect the weight of your package because maybe if you took volumetric weight into account prior, by the time they repackage it, that might change, right? And you'll then have an additional charge due to weight discrepancy. With terminal, we have what we call our automated reconciliation, where immediately the package is received by the carrier and they check the weight and they update the weight on their end. It automatically updates on our end, and that is when you will then be billed for that weight discrepancy. But if you've ever received a weight discrepancy charge that you believe is wrong or was wrongly calculated and you're sure that you've taken your volumetric weight into account and your scale weight into account, we're there to help you. All you need to do is send us a picture of the weight of your package or the dimensions of your package and share that with us and we can dispute that. If you don't have that information ready at hand, if you have similar items available, maybe you have, if it's skincare products and you have those same skincare products available, you can just package that, check the weights, take a picture of it, check the dimensions, make sure it's the same packaging, um, record the dimensions and share it with us so we can help you to dispute that with the carriers, because that usually comes from the carriers. Any weight discrepancy charge, it comes from the carriers, right? So moving on, we have documentations, right? So these are documents that you need to ship items internationally, and they vary based on the carrier you're using, based on the country it's going to, and the type of item that you're trying to ship, right? So here I've listed out some of our most popular documentations that we've seen that are required, right? So we have textile addendum, which is a document that is needed when you're sending clothing or anything that is fabric, so like a towel, whatever it is, when you're sending that to the USA. a textile addendum is needed, and they usually require a different addendum for different fabric types, right? So this is peculiar to FedEx when you're shipping to the US using FedEx. However, for some of these, even though it might be peculiar to one carrier, we've seen situations where when the package arrives with customs, they might then request for it with a different carrier. So, like I said, this textile addendum may be mainly FedEx that requires it before shipping, but we've seen situations where maybe by the time the package arrives with DHL, for instance, customs may require that you process it. So it's always great for you to be familiar with these different documents. So if at any point in time it is required, you have an idea of what it is. And of course, we at Terminal, we're also here to help you. We have these available and we are happy to assist you with providing these documents. So like I said, we have the wristwatch form, which of course is needed when you're shipping your wristwatch to the US. We have shoe forms needed when sending shoes to the US as well. We have drop ball forms needed when you're sending like eyeglasses and sunglasses to the US. And then we have the FDA prior notice form. So this is needed when you're shipping food items, herbs, medical devices to the USA and some other countries as well, right? So these ones are mainly required by FedEx. The ones I just spoke about, they are mainly required by FedEx, but we've seen instances where other carriers may request it by the time it arrives at the destination country. Then we also have quarantine certificate or phytosanitary certificate. So this is issued by the Ministry of Agriculture. And it is needed when you're shipping any edible items from Nigeria, be it food, be it herbs, as long as it is edible, it is needed before you can ship it. And here at Terminal, we can actually assist you with obtaining this document if you don't have access to getting it, right? Another document is a museum certificate. So this is issued by any national museum and it's needed when you're sending artworks, whether it's a painting, it's a sculpture, whatever it is, you need this document when you're shipping artworks from Nigeria, right? You have to take the item you're shipping to a national museum near you where they will appraise it and then they will then issue you a certificate before you can ship that item internationally. It is required across all our carriers to any country that you're going to, as long as you're shipping um, artwork, it is going to be needed, right? So yes, I think we've covered everything that I wanted to touch on. And now, if you have any questions, this is when we're going to take questions. So if you have any question, you can just raise your hand and then we will address them. Okay, I see that JSO Logistics. Can we share the various textile? Yes, so we can share that document with you. Normally, when you ship the item with FedEx and they request for the documents, we actually send an email with the document attached for you to fill and send it back. Or sometimes, depending on the content of your package, we actually go ahead and do this on your behalf just so that the process is a lot more seamless. But we're always happy to share the documents with you. So you can reach out to our customer service or your account manager, and we'll be happy to share all the necessary documents with you. Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, there are sometimes I want to enter some shipments and I won't find the HS code for it, and I will find it difficult for item category and all that because it's like they were not in line with what I'm trying to send. So, how do I now go about that? Because there was a time I made a mistake and it was later corrected, but when I tried another one, it was still taking me back to that mistake, so I had to close the booking. So I don't know.
Okay, thank you very much for that question. So, HS codes, which are harmonized codes that customs uses to identify an item and understand the value range for that item, right? It is very much needed when shipping internationally, and that is why we've done our best to implement this on our platform. We were in the previously when we first implemented our HS codes, it was a bit bulky and cumbersome, so we were in the process of simplifying it for you. Right now, it's a bit more simplified, so it's easier for you to identify whatever you need. However, if you ever have an issue where you can't find a specific HS code, please reach out to us so we can check it on our end. We also have a HS code guide that is available on our resources, if I'm not mistaken, and we can actually also share that with you, which would show you like popularly shipped items and how to identify the HS codes on our platform when you're booking. But if the item you're looking for is still not listed there, please reach out to us and let us know so that we can check for it and make sure our systems are updated accordingly, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Okay, no problem. Does anyone have any other questions to ask? Please go ahead with your question.
All right, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so my question is, since you said we can't ship food items and maybe clothing together, so how do we go about um, packaging them, and do they go in like in one shipment, or do I ship them like separately as two shipments?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. So we have a feature available on our platform called the multi-piece, where you can have one, where you can book one shipment and have multiple parcels under that shipment. Right now, it is limited to FedEx, DHL, and Ship to Niger. So in that instance, when you have multiple packages that you need to ship under one shipment, right? You can book that on our platform. When you go on the platform and you get to the point where you're adding items, we have an add parcel, which you can access both on our app and our new beta version. So you can add the parcel and it will create it. That is, you're saying you have a second package or a third package, right? So you just do that and put the content of that package, you list it out there, right? And then you can book it. What would happen is it will generate one invoice with a master way bill and a second way bill for the second way bill for your other package, right? So everything is together. It's one shipment, but with two tracking numbers. So we call it a multi-piece shipment. So that's available. But for the other carriers that we don't have that feature enabled for, you will have to book it as two separate shipments. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
Okay. Yes. Someone said we should share the recorded video. Definitely, we will share the recorded video on our YouTube channel, as we've put in the comment section there, and it will be updated on our social media so you can have access and rewatch the video to see if there's anything else you missed. And if you have any other questions that we didn't address here, or maybe you remember it afterwards, please feel free to still reach out to us. We're always happy to take your questions. Um, okay, we have a question. Where can we get quality packaging that meets international standards? Great. We actually have packaging materials available at terminal. We have a packaging material storefront where you can go in and purchase your different packaging materials. So we have your DHL flyers, you have your RMX flyers, UPS flyers, we have plain flyers of different sizes. We also have different size boxes which meet international shipping standard, and you can also request for them to be branded. So we also offer branding of those boxes for anyone that's interested. And yeah, so you can just go on there. I'll drop the link to our, okay. Yes, so that's the link to our Paystack storefront where you can purchase your packaging materials from. Does anyone have any other questions? We want to make sure that your packages are delivered well without any issues. If I send my certificate abroad, what kind of packaging will I use that won't get it damaged? So when you say your certificate, do you mean documents? So if you're referring to documents, we will just, first of all, you put it in your envelope. So like your brown envelope, white envelope, whatever that is, you put that in there. Then you can then put it in a flyer. So that envelope provides a level of protection before you then go ahead and put it inside the plain flyer or DHL flyer, whatever polymailer bag you want to use. And it is secure that way. Nothing would happen to it because it is waterproof as well. So it'll be fine in transit. And because it's not fragile, it won't be damaged or broken in transit. Does anyone have any other questions? Okay, please go ahead. Hi, Ogunleye. Please go ahead and ask your question. Can you hear me? If you're trying to talk, your mic is still muted.
Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Yes, please, can we have all the items that cannot be delivered to all states? Abi all country, I mean.
Okay, so are you referring to like a prohibited
Yes,
items
prohibited,
list?
yes.
Okay, so we have different prohibited items for different carriers and different countries. It's rather extensive. However, we do have a list of like the popular ones that are prohibited across the different carriers and some certain countries, which I believe should also be available on our resources page. However, we would also share this across with you. But majorly across all our courier partners, you internationally, you can't ship anything that is money related. So be it money, a check, a draft, you can't ship that. An activated ATM card, you can't ship that. You can't ship perishable food items. You can't ship cash crops like beans, honey in large quantities. You can't ship meat, anything meat or the likes like kilishi, pomo. You can't ship that internationally as well with our carriers. Then for like Spain, Italy, France, using FedEx, you can't ship cosmetics. Italy in general, Spain in general, you can't ship cosmetics across all our carriers. It will be returned. But for FedEx, cosmetics can't go to Spain, Italy, or France. It requires an import license. You also can't ship anything that has chicken flavor in it. So, like your seasoning cubes, chicken flavored seasoning cubes, they can't go. Right, those ones can go as well. Other seasoning cubes can go, but chicken flavored seasoning cubes can't go. You can't ship dairy products like milk. You can't ship that as well. But definitely we'll share an extensive list with you. And then for anyone that isn't covered there, if you want to clarify, you can feel free to reach out to us and we will confirm anyone that for any country that isn't listed on the documents we eventually share. Okay, yes, we've dropped the link to prohibited items in the chat box, so feel free to check that out. Yes, Matthew. Hi, Matthew. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hi, Matthew. Okay. Yes, I
Yeah.
can hear you.
Good afternoon. Like
Good afternoon.
I do have this issue of like changing okay, like last week now, I wanted to book a shipment for a customer. So at times it comes up. At times you will not, get to see the something like, when you're sending an edge gel, head gel, maybe like gele or bandana or like a head warmer.
Like a headwear. Yeah.
So, like when you're sending, like you're searching for it, at times you get it. At times, last week it just happened. Like I was looking for uh, head. We got it appears on your dashboard like head gel, So I typed head gel, I couldn't find it. Then I typed head warmer. I started typing. So not until I used another definition for for searching for it. I mean, before I could get one. You know. So what I just want is this: you people should try maybe every three days or every week should keep trying, updating your terminal, please. So that's my
Okay, thank you so much, Matthew. I'm so sorry for that experience. We actually updated our HS codes, which I'm sure that's what you're referring to,
yeah.
late last week to simplify it because we did get a lot of feedback that it wasn't very easy for people to identify certain items using the HS code. So right now, if you want to get to any headwear related products, all you need to do is when you pick the first category, you'll see hair and hair accessories, right? So from there, you will then get to the next category, which will then lead you to all your different sorts of headwears. They are available there now. And like I said, if there's anyone but peradventure you don't see, please feel free to reach out to us. We are always happy to look through our system and update it accordingly, right?
All right.
Um, yes.
All
Thank
right.
you so
Thank you.
much. No
All right.
problem. Okay, I see that we had a question on in the comments about not all international carriers appearing on their dashboard. So, on our terminal platform, you can actually go to your settings to see if all the carriers are activated on your account. And if you're having any issues, you can always reach out to your account officer or customer support. So we can also check to make sure everything is right on your account. So if you're having difficulties finding a specific carrier and it's activated on your account, please reach out to your account officer or our customer support and we will check on our end to ensure everything is right on your account. Do we have any more questions? We're here to make shipping internationally easy for you. Okay. Hi, hello, Landmark. Please go ahead with your question. Hi, can you hear me? If you can hear me, please go ahead and speak.
Can you
You're
hear me?
still
Good
muted.
afternoon.
Yes, I can hear you now. Hi,
Yeah,
good
good
afternoon.
yes, please. Good afternoon, everybody. I actually wanted to purchase some cartons, but I noticed that you guys just have, sorry, I'm using the word guys, 8, 10, and all that. There's no size 4, 5, 6, 7. I noticed there are just certain sizes for cartons you have. You don't have other sizes that are needed. So that's my question. Is it going to be made available? Because sometimes this volumetric weight actually comes into play. If you get, if you use the size 8 carton and maybe your item is the actual weight is 5 and you have the size 8 carton available, definitely the client will be paying for the volumetric weight, which most of them usually argue like, I don't understand, the scale is showing 5 points, so why am I going to pay for 8 points? So I would advise if we can make other sizes cartons available for easy shipping, ma'am.
Hello, okay, yes, most definitely. So actually, can you hear me?
Very well, please. Very well. I'm actually in
Awesome.
a very noisy
Okay,
place. Yes, please.
okay, no problem. So regarding that, what we have displayed on our storefronts are like the popularly purchased sizes. But if there's a size you want that isn't there, if you have a custom size, you can actually make request for it and we will make that available for you. So like I said, if there's a size there that you don't see and you want, you have the dimensions for that. Reach out to your account manager or our customer support and let them know that you want to purchase boxes with these dimensions, but you noticed it's not available. And we will get back to you with a quote for it and we will make it available for you. So what we just have displayed there are popularly shipped or popularly purchased sizes for the boxes, but we have other sizes available upon request.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for this clarity. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah.
Okay. Any more questions about shipping, packaging your items? Let me know. Let's solve all your packaging needs. Okay. Okay. If we don't have any more questions, I think we can come to an end. I think we've been able to at least answer some questions, which I'm sure would enlighten a lot of people, and as well as the presentation. Like we said, the link will be made available. The link will be made available to everybody. And it will be available on our YouTube. It will be available on our social media platforms as well. And you can also take note of the different links in the chat box. We spoke about purchasing the packaging material, so we have the link there. We also spoke about the list of the prohibited items, which is also linked here, and then of course the different documentations. So maybe what we will just do as well is after this call, we will just send an email highlighting everything that we spoke about here, so that everybody has easy access to all the necessary information that we shared on this call. I hope this was helpful to you guys, and I hope we were able to at least answer some of your questions. Okay, Matthew has another question. Please go ahead. Hello, Matthew. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, please go ahead.
Okay. Why is it difficult for me to ship to Barbados? Please.
So with Barbados, it's not that it's difficult to ship to. There might just be some restrictions on certain items shipping there, and that's just because of the customs regulations of the country. So, for instance, you might find it difficult shipping food items there, but in terms of clothing and the likes, it will be a bit easier. However, everything will be subject to custom inspection, right, over there. So it's not that it's difficult or impossible, it's just depends on their customs and for some specific items, right? But if you're shipping regular items like clothes, shoes, accessories, you shouldn't have much difficulty shipping there.
What I wanted to ship there was this jelly. Do you know jelly? Like
Is it
um
edible?
yes, yes, it is.
Yeah, you may have some difficulty shipping edible items to Barbados. Actually, the main countries we even advise shipping food items without any issues, they are usually UK, USA, Canada, Ireland. Some other countries you can also ship food items, but with maybe FedEx. But for DHL, it's mainly UK, USA, Canada, Ireland. Other countries you may still be able to ship some food items, but they do have specific requirements, and upon arrival, if it doesn't meet their customs, if it doesn't meet their own requirements over there, it can be returned or seized. That's why we usually just advise to stick to these countries to avoid issues with the other countries, the customs of the other countries. So that's why you probably find it difficult shipping the jelly to Barbados because of that restriction.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Yes. Okay, so do we have any more questions? Any last minute questions before we close out the call? If anybody has anything to ask, and okay. So I think with the absence of any more questions, like I said, we will send out the necessary information that we spoke about during this call. And yeah, we hope to have more training sessions so we can enlighten you and interact with you and hear your problems and provide solutions to it this way. Yeah, so we hope to see you in our next live training session. We will send an email. This training session, like we said, will be available on our YouTube and our social media platforms. Um, do have a good day and enjoy the rest of your week. And like I said, we hope to see you in our next session. Be sure to ship with us.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining
Thank you.
us.
And you too. Thank you. Bye bye.
So much. Thank you.